Right. 1 September 2024. And today I'm going to be giving you my updates for all the trending news on this Sunday. And today I've got quite a lot of interesting stories, starting with what's happening in South Africa. So the MTN CEO, Ralph Mupita, is facing dismissal just a week or so after we talked about the bad results where MTN has declared its first loss ever since it was formed. So MTN Group is the holding company of MTN, and currently a Zimbabwean, Ralph Mupita, is the CEO. He was previously the CFO before he was elevated to become the CEO. And before that, he was a CEO of Old Mutual in charge of Africa and the Middle East. I think that is the title that he held before. So there has been a whistleblower report, which has resulted in an investigation into Ralph Mupita. And this investigation was obviously based on a report that was made anonymously. They are accusing him of an improper relationship with a female executive of the MTN group. And the accusation is that Ralph is trying to give the responsibilities of other executives to this woman with whom he's got an improper relationship, and also that he is trying to favor this particular woman whose name has not been released. So this is an executive in the MTN group structure. So if I look at MTN group, so let's briefly remove this. That is the MTN group structure there at the top. You can see Mcebisi Jonasi, and you can see down there is Ralph Mupita as the CEO. And then the executive committees are headed by the people that you see there at the top. There is just 2 women here in the executive committees, but she was not named. So I do not know which woman it is. And you can find this story in the Sunday Times newspaper. This is very bad for MTN. MTN is a massive company with a big reach within South Africa. MTN has done very well within the past 10 years, coming to become the top company in the telecom sector of South Africa in terms of network performance and also their systems. The company has become one of the leading employers previously, and many customers have left Vodacom and Cell C to go to MTN due to the big improvement that the company was going through in their network. The network did very, very well. I did work for MTN, I told you, for 7 years. Just that was my last job in South Africa. So this is very sad because the allegations being made here are very damaging. And I believe that there is a trend in South Africa where a Zimbabwean or a foreign CEO will not be able to make it. There is a big push for local CEOs. You are seeing what's happening at ABSA. Last week we talked about ABSA, and now we're talking about MTN. Those are big, massive companies, one in the banking and the other in the telecom sector. So there is going to be massive moves to get rid of foreign CEOs, especially the black ones. As you know, another Zimbabwean, Sipho Mhlalose, is also the CEO of Vodacom. So we have 2 CEOs who are not South African, and I have no doubt that they are going to go after him next. And this is not a speculation. There is a clear clash, especially at MTN, between Mupita, and this is mentioned in the Sunday Times newspaper, and Charles Molapisi, who is the CEO for South Africa. So you can clearly see that there's going to be a massive problem. And this is the beginning of the end for most companies in the telecom sector in South Africa. There is a problem already. Cell C, now you've got a problem at MTN, and Vodacom is it's got issues with the please call me issue. So there is no telecoms company right now except for Telkom, which is stable. The three other companies in the telecom sector are not stable, and this one is going to be very painful because MTN Group covers a lot of companies of countries, including Nigeria, Zambia, all these countries. They have MTN running over there. So very sad to see the situation developing around the Zimbabwean CEO, Zimbabwean Board CEO, Ralph Mupita, who is being pushed out. And the nominations committee, which was supposed to sit, has been postponed by 3 months. His contract is coming to an end within the next year, and he is likely to be replaced or to be removed, or his contract is likely not to be renewed. This is one guy who's been there, I think, since 2017, and he's been a very competent CEO. So let's see what happens. We'll keep watching these developments. You saw that last week already, Absa has fired their CEO. Let's see if MTN is going to follow suit. This job is a massive job. You earn 75 million rands here a year, and we're not even talking about your benefits. This is one of the highest paying jobs in South Africa. Right, so I want to end that story. Let's go to other trending stories, starting with Chatunga Mugabe. So Chatunga Mugabe yesterday appeared in court, in the Bedbridge Magistrate Court, after he attempted to stab a policeman with an okapi knife. When the police stopped Chatunga Mugabe, he angrily told them to not waste his time, and he was being driven by a Chinese guy. He then went out and had an altercation with the policeman, upon which he was subdued and taken to Bedbridge police station. Then he was taken to court, and then after he was taken to court, he was released on free bail and will come back to court on the 16th of September. That is my understanding of the current situation with the Chatunga Mugabe. He's going to be back 16th September in court after an altercation with the policeman at a roadblock. Then another story we have is Comrade Chinks. His wife was buried, Patricia, and as you know, Comrade Chinks has got 2 wives. This is after his first wife died in 1996. He married a second one. He always had 2 wives, and his remaining wives is called Ndombi Zodwa or Ndombi, and she is currently the one who is now left in charge of the family. Comrade Chinks has left behind 14 children and 40 grandchildren, and his wife Ndombi Zodwa stays in Norton. He was buried at Glenforest Cemetery, not as a national hero, after he had a fight with, after his house was demolished, and his wife was also buried there this week. Patricia, the one that died last week, she was buried over there. So Ndombi is in charge of the family now that he's gone, now that he's dead. Then in Nigeria, Chidima Adichina has been crowned Miss Universe Nigeria 2024 after she beat all the other contestants, and she's going to be representing Nigeria at Miss Universe Mexico. So she's going to be representing Nigeria over there. She's done very well. After all that information that came out in South Africa about her citizenship, you can see former or the last Miss Nigeria crowning her over there, looking very nice. And she is doing very, very well. She has said she's not going to be coming back to South Africa anytime soon. So she's embracing her Nigerian roots. She's not going to be coming back to South Africa. She's probably going to be arrested anyway if she comes over here. They won't enjoy the fact that she's got a fake ID. Then my last story from South Africa is Drip Footwear here has been taken to court by VNA waterfront. That is a mall here in Cape Town. And the reason why they've taken Drip Footwear to court is that they owe over 1.1 million in rent. They signed a lease which was supposed to end in July, but they vacated their shop in June. And before they vacated, they had some bills that they did not pay. This is a local footwear company, one of the first, one of the two or so local footwear companies that was doing very well. And it has gone into serious problems, which has resulted in the company closing many of their shops. And they were supposed to pay so rental for a storeroom and for a shop, but they did not manage to pay all this money. By the time they vacated, the mall was forced to auction their goods. They auctioned their goods, but only recovered 94,000, and they've now gone to court to recover 1.1 million rands. So this company has not done well, and this guy has faced so many problems, personal problems with his wife, and this has been in public. So I think that is one of the reasons why he hasn't done well in his company. So I think for now, that is what I have. Let's go and see if the newspapers have published. I'm going to start by looking at the Sunday Mail newspaper and see what they have over there. Sunday Mail Zimbabwe. Okay, so Sunday Mail Zimbabwe has published. Let's go through that newspaper together. Sunday Mail is talking about Mnangagwa and China. Mnangagwa is going to be Beijing, I think today or tomorrow. And as I said, there is a massive plan by Mnangagwa, and that is going to become clearer at the end of this week. So that is Mnangagwa over there with the Chinese. He's meeting here. Shen Xiaoming, Secretary of the Yunnan Province Party Committee, Provincial Party Committee in China. So he met a Chinese Communist Party official here yesterday. And I'm going to come back tomorrow and give you more details in this newspaper. It's quite big. I've not had an opportunity to look at the most important stories here in this newspaper. If there's anything that I want to share with you, I'll share this with you tonight when we do our evening broadcast. But I just want to show you something. I'm showing you here the graph of the exchange rate. And you can clearly see that the parallel market that they are showing here is fake. A parallel market does not move like that. So the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is going to learn a tough lesson about currencies. Currencies are manipulated. So if you want to stop a currency from being manipulated, there are certain things that you need to do as a Reserve Bank. And the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe has failed to do all those things. This thing is going to go to zero by December. So let's watch and see as these guys suffer, the guys in the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, because they don't listen. When they're being told by people how to run a currency, they don't understand. It's very simple to run a currency. Zimbabwe is the only country without a currency. And the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is the source of all the problems to do with the currency. Then I want us to go to the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper is leading the story of General Chiwenga. General Chiwenga is in trouble, according to the Standard newspaper. And within the next month, the war veterans are going to issue a statement on General Chiwenga. So the war veterans are currently the only body that have not endorsed Mnangagwa for a third term. And they are going to issue a statement on whether they agree with Mnangagwa going for a third term or not. And they're currently preparing a report on that. So if the war veterans say Mnangagwa should go for a third term, then Chiwenga will be on his last leg. That means he won't be able to contest or to fight the decision, except the Zimbabwe military was to step in. The question is, can the Zimbabwe military step in? Has Mnangagwa done enough to decimate all the guys who were involved in the coup? And is Auxilia Mnangagwa strong enough? Auxilia Mnangagwa is currently preparing to nominate a woman as one of the vice presidents. And if that happens, Chiwenga is likely to be the one guy that drops off. And this is what everyone is looking at. What is going to happen to General Chiwenga? Can General Chiwenga maneuver? Is he able to outsmart Mnangagwa and Auxilia? Is he able to do what is necessary? Does he have the necessary killer instinct to decimate and destroy the plans of Auxilia Mnangagwa and her husband? So this is within the Standard newspaper. You can go check it out. Let me just show you so that you don't think I'm making it up. The Standard is Zimbabwe, right? Let's see if I can find that newspaper. Yes, knives out for General Chiwenga. So let me present for you the newspaper so that you can see it. I don't want people to think that I'm making up. So you see, like those boys from Talkers, they end up saying Gambakwe said something when it's not me, it's someone else. So I don't want people to come out and say Gambakwe is now supporting Mnangagwa. So if you look here, it says knives out for Chiwenga. This is in the Standard newspaper. The Standard newspaper is owned by Mnangagwa's son-in-law. And they started sponsoring this newspaper. They started sponsoring Trevor Ncube with their law firm. So Mnangagwa's daughter owns a law firm which started sponsoring in conversation with Trevor. That was a law firm, and then eventually they just bought all the newspapers that are owned by Trevor Ncube for $5 million. You can go and check it out on Gambakwe. He said it himself, Trevor Ncube. He said it that Mnangagwa, son-in-law, has bought those newspapers. So I'm not making this up, and I'm not trying to, to say anything. That's why you see Dara is no longer Dara, because zvakadhakwa zvakadhakiswa na son-in-law. So he cannot say what he used to say before, except if he goes and forms his own company. But once you're an employee, it's very difficult for you to come out and do anything. You're used to being paid. It's like if you take a broiler into the bushes, he's going to be eaten. He's not used to it. So I think there's a lot happening in these newspapers. Let's see what is happening in the Sunday news before I go. Sunday News Zimbabwe. They're leading basically the same stories. That is also in the Sunday Mail newspapers. But I want to see if they've got a local story. Locally, the Sunday Mail does very, very well. And the Sunday News does very well. And I don't see anything. Okay, father and son reunite at Kami prison after 27 years. So it seems like a son and the father, Tafadzwa and his father, Big Boy Dube, during the Zimbabwe prison and correctional service week at Kami Maximum Prison on the outskirts of Bulawayo recently. So you can go into that story. I don't think they're all in jail for the same reason. So I want to end it here. So let's recap, and then I can go and get some sleep. So Zimbabwean-born CEO Ralph Mupita is facing dismissal after a whistleblower has sent out a story or a report to the board about his relationship with a female executive, claiming that he's favoring that executive and he's trying to move the responsibilities of other executives to that female executive. This has resulted in him clashing with other executives, and this is now under investigation by the MTN board. The MTN nominations committee has been delayed by 3 months to see if he's still going to be CEO when his contract expires in 1 year's time. So it's most likely that Ralph is going to lose his job, his massive paying job, 75 million rands a year. That is how much he gets paid. And this is the beginning of the end for CEOs, Zimbabwean CEOs in South Africa. They've been doing very, very well. But I think after what happened at Old Mutual and what's happening now at MTN, and we're looking at what's going to happen at Vodacom, there is a big push out non-local CEOs. And I think this is one of the reasons why Ralph is facing these problems, because he is not local. He has done very well, but this year MTN has suffered their first loss in ever since they were formed. And MTN is like a parastatal. It was formed by the new government of South Africa as a way of entering into the telecoms sector. So very interesting situation developing at MTN, and something to watch at the board level. And you know what happens when a company has got problems at the top? It will most likely not come back unless you get a celebrity CEO. And that is what MTN will have to do. They have to find a celebrity CEO, someone who can bring everyone together. They have to reshuffle all the people that they have there at the top. And this is likely going to affect the company because apparently 4 investors are now looking for a different CEO. And I don't know who is those 4 investors. You know that Ralph has made some political statements last year about the ANC. And this is probably one of the outcomes of that statement when he spoke about the leadership situation in South Africa. So you can go check all those things out online. It's all over the place. So I would like to thank all of you for watching. I'll be back here tonight, 10 minutes past 9, as we look at all the other news that will be developing today. Thank you very much and a good day.